and welcome to the Pro Laugh Podcast. I'm comedian Michael Halcomb, and I'm here with Brandon Latek.
It's the Pro Laugh Podcast.
It's Pro Laugh, a movement and a podcast. It's Pro Laugh.
Brandon, how's it?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, dude. Did you have a good day? Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I had a great day. Yep. Wrote a little bit, and so
Right
wrote
on.
a little bit. Worked.
Always
I had
good.
a little ice cream as well.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
What'd you have, dude?
Kids were harassing us to go to Cold Stone, so I'm pretty basic, vanilla and sprinkles.
Right. Oh, well, that is super basic. Cold Stone's kind of interesting, yeah, because they like do that whole thing where they like make a mess of the ice cream right in front of you, and they like treat it like it's like they're grilling steak or something like that. And
Right, like it's Benihana of Cold Stone.
Exactly. Yeah, they like got that cold, the Cold Stone's a slab right in front of you, and they're like, I don't know, like flipping it and mixing stuff in and pounding it with the whatever tools they have. So
I don't know if they do this now, but it used to be if you tipped them, they had to sing. So could you imagine someone throws like 25 cents in, you got to split that 4 ways, and you got to sing for that.
I didn't know that, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's cold.
That's cold.
I was in an Arby's the other day. Now, we didn't really have an Arby's in Hawaii. They had one for a little bit, and then it was gone. I was in an Arby's the other day, and they had, we're in a kind of country out here, and they had a bell by the door. And I know other restaurants do this too, but if you think the people, like the servers or whatever, did well, you ring that bell on your way out, dude. And I rang that bell, dude. My ears were hurting for like 3 hours after that. It was so stinking loud. I had no idea that was going to happen, but yeah. It's like what we talked about last time, dude. You landing the plane and clapping, dude.
Yeah.
It's like immediate, you did great feedback for the
Yeah. Oh,
Arby's
yeah.
work. Yeah.
So you mentioned you're in the country. Like you're in the, I think you downplay that a little bit. You're in the country. Like talk about the black bears.
Yeah, the mountains, dude. I have black bears just walking around my yard. Like mama and her cubs. The cubs like climb the trees in the back of my house, dude. It's kind of funny. But like all kinds of wildlife here. We just had 3 turkeys walking through our yard a little bit ago. I've had a fox on my doorstep. I have like one of those ring cams,
Mm-hmm.
I got a video. I should show it here sometime of a fox coming up on my doorstep right to my front door while we're all sleeping. So lots of deer, and there's bobcats around here. I haven't seen those yet, but lots of stuff. The bears, dude, it's cool. It's really cool to see the bears. They're so chill. They're like tame, and they can walk right past you, and they don't act out or anything. They're pretty neat.
All right. Well, see how chill they are. Go see how their kids are doing.
Yes, not bad. So you can't like leave trash or anything like that, because like one of my friends left like some gummy bears or something in her car, and the bear literally twice ripped the door handle off of her car, got in the car, and got the gummy bears, which is
No
funny
way.
that it's like bears, but yeah.
Yeah. Usually it's like you got to watch out for raccoons or whatever, but bears, that's unreal.
Yeah, yep. So she came out, dude, and there was a bear sitting in her car. Like, how crazy is that? Like, you come out, the door is ripped off, and the bear is sitting in your car.
I feel like I'd go back in the house and then come back out to make sure like I saw that right.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, we're in the mountains, bro, and it's pretty cool. But yeah, man, what's going on comedy-wise?
Yeah, so let's see. I had a show at the Mall of America open mic. That went really well. So
Nice.
One thing I learned there is I changed a few things up in it. One
So,
thing I
hold on,
learned,
hold on. The Mall of America is in Minnesota.
Minnesota, yep.
All right. Did it used to be called like the Mall of Mexico, and when Trump came in, he named it the Mall of America?
Exactly. They just flipped it, actually. It was Mall of Mexico, yeah.
Right on. So you're at the Mall of America. All right, keep going. I interrupted.
Yeah. So I changed a few things, like added a few tags. And one thing I learned is to not add too many new things, because one, like you want to be in the moment. But then two, it's like you almost want to have everything consistent so you know what is working and what is not working. Like, did that tag work or did it not work? If you do too many updates, then it's like, why didn't it work? You know? So
Okay.
yeah. But
All right.
but yeah, overall the set went really well. I was really happy with it.
And what was the name? There's a club then in the Mall
Yeah,
of America.
yep. So it's Rick Bronson's House of Comedy. It's in the Mall of America on the 5th floor.
How often do they do comedy there?
So they do the open mic once a week on every Wednesday. And then generally like on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I believe, they have headliners there.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So yeah, some pretty big names, decent sized names go through there.
Right on.
How about you?
Well, yeah, I haven't. I'm just preparing for a show at the end of July. I mentioned that before. It's probably going to be 100% new content and throwaway content. You know, I won't be able to use it again, so throwaway isn't the right word. But, you know, I may be able to lift a joke or two out and use it somewhere else, but we'll see. You know, some of it's so specific. So I've been working on that, and really today spent, you know, some time trying to like figure out what's the best order for this. And I timed myself going through it. So I have about 7.5 minutes out of 15. And then I wrote kind of like a different set. I'm going to be releasing some new videos on my own personal podcast channel on YouTube and stuff. And I was thinking, well, I have a 7-minute set there that I could just bring over here and save me from having to write a whole another 7 minutes. So I may do that, in which case that content would be recycled. You know, I'd get to use it twice actually, rather than just once.
Would any crowd work be doable in that setting?
I think so. I'm going to try to I'm going to see if I can carve out 2 to 3 minutes maybe for crowd work and see where that goes. Yeah, it'd be fun to do crowd work. Yeah.
And then usually like with jokes, a lot of times you'll go to an open mic or you'll go somewhere to try the joke out and see what hits and what doesn't. What are you doing right now for that set to kind of make sure it's tight?
You know, because like I can't go tell these jokes, most of them at a club. Like some of them I can. I can share a couple here in a bit. All I'm tell my wife, right? Like my kids, I'll see if they laugh. I got a buddy, and then like I'll probably work on some of them with you too. But other than that, like I wouldn't want to go out into a club and probably do these. I don't know. I'll share a couple with you here in a bit and see what you think. Like I may be able to. Now that I'm sitting here looking at the first several jokes, I'm thinking, you know what? Actually, the first 5 jokes in this set, I think I could take somewhere else. But the things immediately following it, I mentioned specific locations, like the location I'm at. I mentioned people specific to the location I'm at. And so probably the next 20 to 25 jokes after that are all very person and location specific. I don't know. I'll try these first several jokes here in a bit, and we'll see what happens.
Nice.
Yeah. So I find, like I said before, dude, on these weeks where I'm not getting to perform, and I finally just today got a mic schedule for my area from a local comedian.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Is it pretty robust, or are there quite a few opportunities?
Yeah, I think so. It looks like in the area, I can get to a mic pretty much every day but Thursday and then Saturday. So there are mics, looks like 5 days a week.
That'll work.
In the area. And my goal is to get back to, you know, doing actual shows, getting on lists before too long. Like I don't want to, so
get back on the showcases, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And get paid again, you know, like I'm missing that. So man.
So one question that comes up a lot, how do you overcome the nerves of doing stand-up?
Do you want to take that first, or do you want me to?
Sure, I can take it first.
All right.
One thing I found, like for sure the first time you do it is the most terrifying because you really don't know what to expect. You don't know if any of your jokes will hit. But the nice thing is after that, it seems to get easier and easier. But then the second you think that you have this, like, you know what you're doing, reality will smack you in the face and you realize you know nothing and you're not funny. But I think like part of it is just making sure you know your kind of you know your set you're doing. And then also after your first set, you'll have an idea of maybe a couple jokes where people do laugh. So you'll know in the back of your mind, like you have these 2 or 3 jokes in your back pocket that you can always pull from to get people laughing again. So you almost have a safety net a little bit. That's at least what I tell myself. What do you think?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mentioned last week, I always keep a set list on me every time I go up. That eases some nerves because it's like you just said, it's another safety blanket,
Uh-huh.
right? The memory technique that I use allows me to keep my to know where I'm at in my set list at all times. So if I get interrupted, and there's gonna be interruptions. You know, hecklers, not necessarily in the negative sense, but people just wanting to talk. People clanking glasses and plates, depending on where you are. Like, you know, waiters and waitresses talking during your show. So there's always going to be interruptions. You know, knowing where you are in your set is huge to relieve the nerves. Getting over the idea of have to say word for word how I wrote it is a huge deal. So just knowing the gist of the joke, and then like the most important words for the punch in the setup, right? And the rest, you know, you don't worry about um, as much. So if you know that, like you don't really have to fear. But all that said, I will say there's kind of an inherent bias in the question too, which assumes that you can overcome nerves. And I don't know that that's possible. And I don't know that if it was possible, it'd be a good thing or a preferable thing. So I've also tended to look at it like it's not nerves, it's adrenaline. Right.
So you almost reframe it then.
I reframe it. This what I'm feeling right before I go out on stage. I got some footage, like I have my buddy, he's always following me around, like filming me even backstage and stuff. So I'm like doing the whole like boxing thing, you know, like loosening up. So if you see me right before a show backstage, that's kind of how I'm looking, and it's just adrenaline, dude. Like, and adrenaline sounds way less terrifying than nerves and nervous. You know, adrenaline's a good thing. It means you're excited about the moment. You're amped up. You're pumped up for it. You're ready to go. Adrenaline isn't going to get the best of you. Like, it's going to bring the best out of you. So that's kind of how I think about it. Yeah.
Yep. Totally agree.
So that does come up a lot, dude. And when I'm not like a seasoned comedian by any, you know, stretch of the imagination at this point. I've only been doing it 14, 15 months. But I have had people asking me about that. Like, well, do you get nervous before a show? Well, no, I don't get nervous, but I do have adrenaline, you know.
Yeah.
And that's good because it reminds me that I'm human and that I'm excited about this. It's like if that adrenaline disappears, then I realize I'm no longer having fun and excited about it.
Right. And that's, I think it's one of the first questions or comments you get, like, oh my gosh, how could you even do that? How could you even stand up there? But it does get easier though. And then with time, things like the first few sets, it seems like things are coming at you a million miles an hour. But after a while, kind of like sports, things tend to slow down a little bit. And then you're able to kind of see stuff coming. So that makes it a little bit easier, but it's never easy, but it's
right.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, crazy stuff happens too. My next to last set, like that I did several weeks ago, literally, dude. I'm like walking to the stage. The announcer is like introducing me, right? The host is introducing me. I'm walking to the stage and there's like 100 or so people out there. I don't know. And my wife's blowing up my phone telling me she's just had a blowout on the interstate, you know, and asking me what to do. And I'm like, I don't know. I got to go on stage. I'll talk to you later, you know, like, so like stuff like that happens too. Like, crazy stuff, and you just never know. So you just got to be ready. The adrenaline's good. It'll carry you through if you let it. Don't try to suppress it, dude. It's not nervousness, it's adrenaline. Let it carry you through, and that's my advice on that.
Yeah. There was a time once where I have a joke in my set, and somebody had a similar joke and they were right before me. So I basically had to burn that one and then come up with something else to throw in there to fill that time there. So yeah, there's just random stuff that comes up. But that's the fun of it too. See if you can get out of it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you dig yourself in a hole, or you find yourself in a hole that you didn't dig. And yeah, how can I get out?
Yep. And sometimes that's like the more rewarding too. You're like, holy cow, I pulled that out.
I did it. I'm like, I can do this. I'm good. It's like confidence building, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right on, man. That's a good question.
Yeah. So you want to work on a joke?
Yeah, dude. I'll go first if you want me to go first. So this set that I am gonna be doing, that I've been working on, is for a theology conference, a linguistics/theology conference. Okay, so it's very niche. There's gonna be like 300 something people at this conference. Okay, and I'm gonna give a lecture, and then so that'll be during like a workshop or something. Those will end. There'll be other lectures going on at the same time in different rooms, and then everybody go to lunch. And at lunch, I'm doing 15 minutes of stand up. So this is to a room full of people who are PhDs, the professors at universities and seminaries and colleges, and then also a lot of very, very educated pastors. So people who are interested in language and theology. So that's the context for this.
So they'll probably be at least somewhat excited about that, because comedy is not the genre that usually, those things are talked about. So them being able to laugh at some of those things, I think they'll probably enjoy that.
Right. So the first 5 jokes, I'm looking at them right now. They don't really have a lot to do with that, but I figure with this crowd, since they're so heady, right? They are logical, intellectual people, maybe difficult to make laugh kind of people. Right. So my thinking is I have to win them quick. And I don't know if these jokes do that, but I was thinking like self-deprecation is probably the way to go. So I'll share some jokes here, and if you have any input, dude, feel free to input away. All right, here's how the the opening goes. So I'm Michael Halcomb, and I've gone from being a Bible scholar to a stand-up comedian. Things are obviously going okay for me, I think. That's joke 1.
Okay.
No midlife crisis to see here. Joke 2. But it's great to be back in Kentucky. When I was a kid, we moved around a lot. All over northern Kentucky, then Ohio, Kentucky, Ohio. We moved so much, my childhood was sponsored by U-Haul. But yeah, this is really great. I've never done comedy for a conference like this. I've done some interesting stuff, though. I got to do comedy in a prison last week. And y'all, I killed not as many people as a couple of those guys on trial, but still. You know you're bad at comedy if inmates are trying to escape your show. So, that's the opening 5 jokes for the set.
Nice. So for that first joke, when you say it's going okay, could that be a stronger word, like horrible?
So I've gone from being a Bible scholar to a comedian, so things are obviously going horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's better. So things are obviously going horrible, I think. I could even take I think off there now. So things are obviously going horrible. Yeah, I think that's good. That's a good adjustment there.
And
no midlife crisis to see here. That's the tag on that.
Yep, so that's a good one still.
And then the next was, it's good to be back in Kentucky, the U-Haul joke. And then after that, it's the 2 prison jokes. So I got to do comedy at a prison last week, and I killed not as many people as a couple of those guys on trial, but still. Yeah, and then you're bad at comedy if inmates are trying to escape your show. That's a funny image to me. That
is.
You go and you do stand up at a jail, and as a comedian, you're thinking I know I suck at this if people are trying to walk out of this. Right.
Like they're banging on the assembly door to let the guards get them the hell out.
They're chiseling through the wall.
Yeah. Get me back to general population. Lord.
Pull an Andy Dufresne and escape through the sewers. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the first 5. And actually, like I said, now that I've like just read these, I think I can recycle some of these, but the ones after I don't think I can.
Oh yeah, Kentucky, Ohio, the U-Haul that you can for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I could recycle all of these to some degree, even the prison jokes. Yeah. So that's what some of what I've been working on.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you? You got anything to share?
Yeah. So this one, just so kind of a heads up, there's going to be a bunch of jokes where my wife basically dunks on me before this. So I'm gonna get the license to be able to dunk on her on this one.
Yeah, it's a good benign retaliation kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I got a rescue 17 years ago. She had a lazy eye, arthritis, and a gross skin condition. My wife was in horrible shape. And then I don't know what your dates are like, but ours ended with me putting rash cream on her back.
I don't know what your dates are like. Yeah. But ours ended with me putting rash cream on her back. So immediately I'm thinking, okay, so what could she do to you that's even worse? What does she put on you? So you put rash cream on her back
Yeah.
while keeping it clean. What's something that she could put on you that's even worse?
For some rash cream.
Ours ended with me putting rash cream on her back and her putting blank on blank. So that could be a tag. I don't know. I'm just thinking. So going back to I got a rescue 17 years ago.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get him to think it's a dog.
Right. Yep. She had a lazy eye, arthritis, and gross skin condition. What about she had a lazy eye, arthritis, and was losing hair? I don't know.
Losing
You
hair.
gotta say skin condition because then you have the rash cream later.
Yeah. And this is a 100% true story.
Dude, it's so funny.
Is
Yeah, I don't know. The misdirect can hit a little harder here. My wife was messed up.
Yeah.
So we do think you're talking about a dog up until this point.
Yep. Up until my wife was messed up. I want my wife to actually be the last part in theory.
Okay, so she had a lazy eye, arthritis, and gross skin condition. Yeah, what if wife was the last word in this?
Right. So you're not stepping on the laugh too,
Yeah. So how do you say my wife was messed up, putting wife last? How do you make that same point? She had a lazy eye, arthritis, gross skin condition.
I had a messed up wife.
I had a messed up wife. So yeah, I got a rescue. So we need more of a connection between rescue and wife. Because what you don't want to happen is for you to say the punch and then people like, but what about the dog? I want it to be clear that it's your wife that you're talking about. I think most people will get that.
Oh yeah, okay.
Arthritis and a gross skin condition.
You know how they say about how dogs are loyal? So I was thinking about also bringing something up about, being through all this, we had a lot of there was loyalty or whatever. But the thing is if I added something about loyalty, I felt like the setup was getting way too long.
What if you said she had a lazy eye, arthritis, and a gross skin condition, but she's still man's best friend, my wife? Something about being man's best friend. You're your best friend. She's still my best friend. I don't always talk this nicely about my wife. I don't always speak so kindly or highly of my wife. She's still my best friend. She had a lazy eye, arthritis, and gross skin condition. She's still my best friend, my wife. I don't know what your dates. Yeah, so that might work.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I think the punch could be a lot better on that part. Maybe a little more clear, kind of like you're saying.
Yeah, because your wife could be messed up, like sad,
about the dog
in that condition.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it needs to be a little tighter. I think she's still my best friend. My wife. Can you say your wife's name? What's your wife's name?
Megan.
She had a lazy eye, arthritis, and a gross skin condition. She's still my best friend. My wife. Yeah, I wonder. I got a rescue 17 years ago named Megan. She had a lazy eye, arthritis, and gross skin condition. Still my best friend. My wife.
Could you almost do like a short act out? So I told her, I'm gonna be, you're loyal to me, so I'm gonna be loyal to you, or something like that. And then my wife, you're my wife. type thing.
Yeah, maybe. I think so. The loyalty thing's good. I mean, it's a little bit inherent, and she's still my best friend. And there's a sort of inherent loyalty to that. But, I'm thinking like all things in the dog realm, like dog tags, treats, water bowl, going for walks, a leash,
Itching,
yeah, licking, pooping and peeing in the house,
fleas. Yeah.
fleas. So, like, what else could be attributed here? Just trying to think of more connections between Megan, the wife, and the rescue.
Or like I let her like sleeps on the bed. That could be.
That's a good one. She has lazy eye arthritis and takes up the whole bed.
Yeah. And loves sleeping on the bed.
Yeah, I love sleeping on the bed. But she's still my best friend. My wife, Megan.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go.
So I like that. My wife, Megan. I think that flows together nicely.
Cool. You want to take a look at some current events here? This is a crazy one. Man goes to the hospital for sticking 15 eggs up his anus.
Dude.
We've all been there, right?
Man, eggs. Were these like deviled eggs, hard-boiled eggs? What kind of eggs? We talking plastic, like Easter eggs? What kind of eggs?
Yeah, it's a good question. I looked that up too. So hard-boiled eggs, and they were peeled.
Peeled, hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah. So him and his partner did it.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Partner helped.
Yeah, dude, my wife has worked in the hospital for decades, and she's like attests you wouldn't believe how many people come into the hospital with things.
What's the craziest thing she found?
I don't know. She's not really allowed to divulge any of that information.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she says it happens way more than any of us realize. So, but it's a lot, dude.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. Like, it's an egg's more than an inch, and 15 of.
Golly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, what would possess you to, like, do that?
Well, he went to the hospital for a bad stomach ache, which that makes sense. And he had to have surgery as well.
So it's like, like that's gotta be embarrassing. Like, but at least he doesn't have egg on his face.
That's right. I don't know what would be more embarrassing than having to go into the hospital to get something taken out of your butt.
What's his condition listed as? Over easy? That's wild, dude.
That's nuts.
And then somebody's helping you do it. Well, of course somebody's got to help you do it. Like, was he thinking he was going to lay them afterwards? Pop them out?
Yeah, that's a good question. What's the end game there? Like, what's...
Yeah. You like planning to make an omelet? What was
the other wild thing? Like, you only get 12 eggs. So they went through one carton and then they go, hey, do we have another carton? And then got 3 more.
He's still feeling scrambled after all that. Good grief. My gosh, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. 2 cartons of eggs. Yeah, wow. I bet Easter is very interesting around his place.
Yeah. I bet family doesn't come over for Easter. They're like, we'll sit Easter out. We'll come over for Christmas, maybe. Yeah.
Bring little Johnny and Susie over. We'll have an egg hunt.
Could you imagine they bring any egg dish? It's like, we're not touching that.
Dude, they like have an egg hunt, and they're all located in the same place. Dude,
yeah,
that is really wild, man.
That is.
I don't know.
Okay, another one. Tesla's RoboTaxi launched in Austin. So I think they launched with 10 taxis. What do you think about that? So it's basically an autonomous taxi.
Man, that's a little terrifying to me. I'm not quite ready for the whole like self-driving car stuff. Like, and for this, I'd be like worried that like seeing Elon lately that you get in one of these taxis and he launches it into space or something. I don't know.
You're on the news.
I don't know, RoboTaxi. I also don't like the name. That's kind of like a stupid name, RoboTaxi.
Yeah, well, it feels like RoboCop, almost like Big Brother type thing. Robot taxi.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a stupid name. You could have come up with like something better than that. But of course,
I like this though.
In Austin?
Yeah, in Austin. I like it because like
you like the name RoboTaxi.
I'm kind of an introvert. So when I go on these taxis, I really don't want to talk too much, I'd say. I'd rather just like sit there.
Okay.
you know, I pray like the RoboTaxi isn't like, oh, what have you been doing today? Like you're like, oh, I gotta talk to you too. Gosh.
So you're talking to the robot the whole time.
Yeah.
The robot's making small talk. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
And you're like, I picked the no small talk option and still talking to you.
That's funny, dude. I don't know, man. I'm not ready for it. Like, I don't know, dude. I'm in the process. My daughter, she's like about to turn 18. She's been driving for a couple of years, but I'm in the process now of like my oldest boy he's got his permit and he's driving. Like, dude drove us to church on Sunday, and dude, like, it was stressful. You know, it got us on the highway, the interstate. I don't know, man. So it's seeing how he drives, like having a brand new car do it itself just seems terrifying to me, dude.
But I guess, would you rather have your son driving, knowing how it, because it sounds like you started praying early before you got to church. You're like, hey, we're going to pregame it because this kid is wild. Or like, I don't know. I trust computers more than I feel like there would be less computer errors than human errors. But then I think about like up here in Minnesota in the snow and ice, might be sketchy if you don't have a human driving it, you know?
Right. Yeah. I think like out, even in the country, dude, you got deer, they jump out in front of you all the time. Like, are these cars quick enough to like stop something like that?
I would think it would actually have it would have a quicker reaction time than a human would be my guess.
You think so?
Yeah, with a camera, like, do. But
wow.
I'm an idiot, so I don't know.
Okay. Maybe. Yeah, I just got a new vehicle and I was close, very close to getting the Tesla, right? A used Tesla. I can't afford a new one. But, pretty interested in the whole electric vehicle thing.
What was the reason you didn't?
The reason I didn't is because I know there'll be times where I'm taking long trips and I do not want to stop somewhere and plug in for like an hour.
That's the reason I haven't got one yet either.
Yeah. So if it had been somewhat of a hybrid, I probably would have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the number one reason I didn't do it. But I don't know, man. Like, you're starting to hear about technology responding in like violent ways, like AI is getting violent with people and retaliating. And it's just like, is there going to come a point where you piss the RoboTaxi off? You're like, no, turn left. This is a shortcut. It's like, no, you get in an argument with the RoboTaxi and then it drives you off a cliff to prove a point. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Could you imagine if they got hacked and
right.
like that?
Right.
That's a little freaky. Like it's just driving 100 miles an hour, and it's basically like, all right, give me $10,000 right now. It basically hijacks it.
Dude, who gets in trouble? Who gets the ticket if that car gets pulled over while you're in it?
Good question.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. Yeah, because technically you're still responsible for it, aren't you? I would think.
I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but you have no control over it, I guess. So I don't know, man. I'm not ready for it. It's interesting, but I'm not ready for it. Yeah, that's where I'm at on it.
Oklahoma City Thunder wins the NBA championship. Did you watch?
I watched the game last night. It was pretty traumatic seeing Halliburton get injured first quarter. The Pacers hung in there up till halftime, and then they got smoked in the second half. So, yeah, what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I just think like the Thunder's GM has got to be one of the best GMs in the NBA. You think about, you're in a small market. You've lost players like Durant, Westbrook, Harden. Like, you produce all these players, they've left, and every year they seem to still be competitive. I think that's super impressive.
I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I heard the announcer last night saying just 3 years ago or 4 years ago, they had only won 33 games or something like that.
Did they? Okay, did they bottom out?
Yeah, like just 3 or 4 years ago, they were terrible. I could have misheard that, but then to come back in just that short period of time and win a championship, that's wild.
Yeah, and it wasn't like putting together a super team either. It was through the draft and
Yeah, so I was sitting there watching the game last night, and I'm like, what the heck is a pacer? And I don't even know what their mascot looks like. Do you?
No. What is a pacer?
So I looked it up, and it said it was like a double wordplay. So in Indianapolis, you obviously have the Indianapolis 500, and you have the pace car,
Okay.
which leads. But their mascot is not a car, as far as I know.
Right.
And then you also have the horse racing there, and there a horse that runs with both both left legs at once and both right legs at once, as opposed to front legs and back legs at once, is called a pacer.
So it's attached to racing then, huh?
I guess so, yeah. So yeah, that's I still don't know what the logo is, but yeah, that was the explanation for it.
Have you ever heard of dressage?
What? Dress? Oh yeah, where the horses jump over the ladders, the mini ladders and stuff like that.
No, dressage is like the horses are dancing.
Yeah, they kind of jump over things too, right? Like a couple poles.
Do they? Maybe. The one I saw, it was just like, it was Missy Elliott music, and then they had the horse dancing to Missy Elliott. It's twerking.
I think the worst part about the Pacers losing that dude is having to go back to Indiana.
Damn it. Well, they're in Oklahoma City, though. I mean,
true. Yeah. I mean,
were the ratings pretty good?
I don't know, dude. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Admit, dude, I didn't watch any of the other games in that series. I only watched Game 7. Also, I was thinking, like, Thunder is a weird mascot as well, right? I think that's what Oklahoma City's mascot is. I don't know.
Yep. Or I think they're a horse, aren't they?
Oklahoma City's is a horse?
Or the actual mascot.
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. I would have figured it was like a lightning bolt or something.
Oh, no, it's not. Looks like a buffalo. Oh, a bison.
It doesn't have anything to do with weather?
It's a bison.
So, like the thundering herd of bison?
Yeah. Oh, what's a warrior? What's that mascot?
The Golden State Warriors?
Yeah.
Golden Gate Bridge? Yeah, what is it? That's a good question. I'm like a loyal Warriors fan, and I cannot tell you.
But they do have a mascot, and it's like a guy with, like, I feel like something coming out of his head.
Basketball head? I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know. The center for the Thunder was pretty impressive last night. I forget his name already, but some foreign dude. A lot of foreigners in the NBA these days.
Yeah. So that is where the white people are coming from, are like foreigners. If you see a white guy in the NBA, he's a foreigner, most likely.
Yes, that's true. France or Czechoslovakia or something like
Serbia.
That. Yeah, Serbia. Yeah, that's true. Yes.
Either and then the other one, the American white guys are on the bench, and then when everyone else like shoots a three, the American white guys, they stand on the bench and just go three, and they're like, and they're the get back guy. The ones, I don't know who they're telling to get back. Like none of those guys are getting on the court anyway. Like sit back down. Then let's see, Iran and U.S. Nothing going on there.
Well, dude, right before we got on, I saw that Reuters had just posted that Israel and Iran have officially called for a ceasefire.
Nice.
Or agreed upon a ceasefire. So who knows? Like, I feel like that's kind of just a war tactic for the other side to attack.
Right. Like, I'm not going to punch you, and then you punch him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's go our separate ways, and then you turn around and I sucker punch you.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it feels like. And the whole thing Trump did was essentially that, dude, right? It was a sucker punch. He's like, okay, I'm going to wait. I'm going to give it 2 weeks to see what happens before we strike. And then, dude, they flew that bomber, or 2 of them, from like Missouri or somewhere, all the way to Iran, dropped bombs, and then flew all the way back to Missouri. And it was like just 24 hours after he said that, within 24 hours. So that's the whole thing. We're going to wait 2 weeks, and within 24 hours, he does it.
Did you see that it took like 39 hours to get there?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you think like they've got to have autopilot where they could sleep a little, right? Or are they just slamming Red Bulls? One of the two.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be several. So was somebody flying the bomber, or was it like remote? Was it computer controlled?
Someone was, it wasn't like a drone. I think someone was flying the bomber. It actually, it fueled in air too.
Right, so they have those in-air fueling stations.
Yeah. That's
amazing to me. That's almost more amazing than the bomb drop.
Yeah.
Right? That planes can refuel each other midair.
Right.
That's that's bananas to me. I mean, you got to have like your math down on that. Like, I could never do it because my math is consistently off. But that's got to be like so perfectly aligned, right? That blows my mind that they're able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're here in commercial and can't even get like our seatbelt sign off.
Like, dude, when I'm like 44, dude. I've been pumping gas
Yeah.
for like over 30 years, or around 30 years. And like, I still haven't mastered the art of pulling the stupid gas like thing out without it leaking gas on my car or on the sidewalk, right?
You got to do the old shake. Do you do the shake?
Dude, even after the shake, I mean, that doesn't help. Still, like, somehow it gets all over the car or the ground. So this is impressive to me that they can.
Yeah. So you have to be going literally the exact same speed, which
Yeah.
that's impressive.
At the exact same altitude, I guess, or
Maybe
something?
I think one's a little higher.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, it's impressive.
it is. It's impressive.
So
And
hopefully that.
Whoever came up with that idea, that's pretty genius.
Yeah. So hopefully that. Hopefully the ceasefire sticks. And it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's wild too, like seeing these, like, I don't know, like stations that they look like clouds and they could pass as clouds to like the human eye, but they're essentially like they house drones and things like that, right? So they look like clouds, but they're docking stations for things like drones or
Like they're in the air.
Dude, these like stations stay in the air and they just float around. They look like clouds, but things like use them as home base, like drones and stuff use them as home base.
How do they stay
what I'm
up?
talking about, or no?
No, I don't. How do they stay up?
I don't know, but somehow they stay up and they float. It's kind of like a hot air balloon or something, dude, but it's a cloud and just floats all the time. And yeah, it becomes like a home base for aerial devices to land and gather intel and record and, could strike, I presume, if they wanted to. That's wild to me as well. So we're like entering some really interesting times, and I've been reading too about these chemicals that the military has been using for a long time to create weather. So they've been evidently doing this since the 70s. They can spray chemicals. Like a plane can fly over and spray chemicals in the air and cause a rainstorm or a lightning storm or whatever.
Really? How big a one?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, Google that because it sounds like I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Let's see it.
Google it. Like, the military has had this technology since the 70s, since before I was born, and they're able to create weather, dude. And that's also mind blowing. Yeah. So that technology is like almost 50 years old. So it must be way better than it was in the 70s.
So it says it's called cloud seeding. Involves releasing substances like silver iodide or dry ice into the atmosphere to encourage precipitation.
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever heard of this?
I think I've heard of like something. Dubai did something like that. Would do that. They'd cloud seed or something.
Yeah, I think that's wild. Yeah. So the UFO bases, like creating weather, like all of this is wild to me. We're in very interesting times.
You know what stinks is like you watch YouTube videos of people in different countries, like visit different countries. Most of the citizens around the world like seem cool. It just seems like it's like governments fighting each other.
Right.
Like the actual people are cool, but it's the governments.
Yeah, that's a good. Also, yeah, I mean underwater bases, like all kinds of stuff, dude. Like
there's an underwater base.
Dude, in Hawaii, right on the island of Oahu, it's a big mountain, but there's evidently like one or two places, and I never found them. I never will. I'd probably be killed if I did. There's one or two places on the island where like boats and submarines, like these sorts of things, can just like fly on water or underwater toward the island, and underwater, like a door will open up or a gate will open up and the watercraft will go inside there. It'll close back up and it just looks like part of the mountain. And so they open up and you're inside like, a military base that's inside of a mountain, but you entered through the water. Like, it's just wild, dude. Like the technology.
This says Hawaii Undersea Research Laboratory has conducted extensive research using submersibles. And while it's not a permanent underwater facility, it has a history of deep sea exploration.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, it says what I just pulled up, while there aren't any established military bases underwater in Hawaii, well, that's crap. Like, I know I had a really ranking military person tell me that he had been there, like he'd seen it with his own eyes. He had worked there. So yeah, I don't believe what the internet's telling me. It's probably just top secret. But yeah, man, I probably shouldn't be saying anything on here.
Okay.
They might be questioning me. Nobody told me that. Nobody told me anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might keep this part out of the podcast, actually.
Sure.
I don't want to have any ramifications for this.
That's all good.
Yeah, man.
So, all right. So here's a would you rather question.
Right on.
All right. Would you rather be flown by an automated airplane or a human pilot?
Dude, again, it's like the RoboTaxi. Dude, like I still want some like human involvement there. Yeah, I don't know. It seems too risky to. I mean, planes are largely automated today, right? All it is really, it's takeoff and landing that has the human element in it.
Yeah.
And,
or redirecting maybe around weather,
right.
maybe.
And humans oftentimes are largely to blame for, the problems. Dude, have you been watching Nathan Fielder's The Rehearsal? You ever watch him?
No.
Oh my gosh, do you even know about Nathan? He's one of my favorite. Dude.
Is it a movie?
Your world is about to be expanded right now. So we need to talk about this next week. All right. So after we hang up here from this podcast, dude, you should go watch Nathan Fielder, Nathan for You. He's got like 3 or 4 seasons. Okay, Nathan for You, absolutely freaking hilarious, dude. He is one of the like funniest people I think ever. Like this he's a comedic genius. If I could like tap into 1/10 of what he does, like, I'd be set.
Is it like bit comedy or what's he?
No, so Nathan for You, he his whole shtick, I think the point of it, people argue about what he's trying to do, but everything he does, I think, is he's trying to make fun of and expose how unreal reality TV is. Okay, so anyways, Nathan for You, he starts off like the show by saying, like, I graduated from one of Canada's top business schools, and then it shows his transcript, and he's got like a C- or something.
Mm-hmm.
So then his whole shtick becomes, and so with that, I go and try to help businesses like revamp their business plan. And so he goes to these businesses and does just the craziest crap and gets these business owners to buy into the absolutely dumbest like plans ever.
Is this like come in and you have to get past the alligator to get a free TV or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. Oh, I've seen that guy. Yeah.
Yes, dude,
he's hilarious.
Brilliant. So go watch Nathan for You, and then he's got a new show that launched a year or 2 ago called The Rehearsal.
Okay.
And this is the one that really says reality TV is ridiculous. But he comes up with these elaborate schemes. So let's say I was going to ask somebody out on a first date.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, what he's going to do is he's going to build the bar, and he's going to put people in there, and he's going to make it as realistic for me as possible so we can rehearse the 10,000 ways that everything could go. So like in comedy, right, you have like you tell the joke and then you escalate absurdity, you escalate the absurdity, escalate the absurdity. His is like constant escalation of absurdity, right? And it takes it to its max. So season 2, this is why you got me on this, his whole thing is he's trying to prove that plane crashes happen because pilots don't talk to each other. Essentially, they're in like a control battle. And he actually learns to become a pilot. He exploits a loophole in the FAA and flies like 300 people on a plane.
Oh, no way.
It is the wildest. He builds an airport and a warehouse. Like, it is just it's bizarre. taking everything to the extreme.
So he
but
makes a
absolutely-
parody of it almost.
A parody. I don't know. You just got to watch it, and then we got to talk about it, dude. It's
Oh, that's
brilliant.
so funny. Yeah, I'll check that out. That's cool.
So for the rest of you who are watching or listening, go watch Nathan For You and then The Rehearsal. He is my absolute favorite TV like content creator / comedian. The dude is brilliant. He's also got some free stuff on YouTube where he used to do a show in Canada. It's just, oh my gosh, it's so funny. Yeah.
So you're a no on the airplanes then?
That was a long way around that. I think I'm a no on airplanes. I think there has to be some human computer interaction, dude. That's where I'm at. What about you? Where are you at? I mean, same thing with a car?
I think for an airplane, I wouldn't mind if it took off or landed with automation, but I would like at least a human to babysit it, you know?
Okay. Kellen Erskine has this joke about people who do like the sticks or the wands
Mm-hmm.
on the runways, or like as you're backing out of the airport or coming into the airport. And so
Yeah.
it's like the joke is something to the effect of he's like what's the point of the people with the wands, right? He's like, you're telling me that this plane can fly 10,000 miles, updating its radar every 10th of a nanosecond, but the minute it touches ground, like
That
it
is true.
needs somebody, waving wands and telling it where to go.
Guy that doesn't care, he's just like,
Yeah, exactly.
that's funny.
Yeah, it's a good joke. I don't really do it justice, but it's funny. So,
And
the podcast, man, I'm having fun with this. It's good stuff and fun to keep trying to finding our way through it. If you're just watching episode 3, we've got episode 2 and 1 out. They're live on our YouTube channel. Go find the Pro Laugh podcast on there. And we got it on Spotify at this point too. And in the future, we'll have it on iTunes and all that jazz. But yeah, anything else here?
yeah, so we have a question for an email.
Oh, sweet. Awesome.
Yeah, Sarah from North Carolina.
North Carolina, what's up?
I'm thinking about starting stand-up comedy. What should I do to start?
Whew, why don't you take that? Why don't you take the lead on that?
Let's see. I would say first, check out all of your the stand-up, the open mics, and write down on the calendar the day you want to do it, like the day you're going to do it. That'll motivate you to write, and there will be an urgency, because if you don't do that, like an example for me is I wrote for about a year and a half prior to ever stepping on stage because I was frankly too afraid to do it. But if you have something scheduled, I mean, you got to do it then. So that's what I'd recommend doing. And then also there's great YouTube content on just the basics of a joke. Because a lot of times what happens is you see a lot of open micers go up. They'll talk about a premise for 5 minutes straight, but have no punchlines or one punchline. So
Right.
just learning what the mechanics of a joke is would be helpful.
Yeah. On that note, I would self-recommend my Udemy course. I have a course on there for joke writing, right? It's called the Joke Writers Lab. You can go get that on there. It's like 4.5 hours of content or something like that, all about joke writing. And then I have a bunch of stuff on my other podcast that's called Messed Up to Setups that you can watch and or listen to. It's all about joke writing. And I talk with other comedians on there too, and they give joke writing tips. We make up jokes together on the spot, so you get a real look behind the curtain to see what that looks like. Those are a couple of resources I'd point you to. The Joke Writers Lab. We also have a corresponding private Facebook group on there, and you can throw jokes on there and try to get feedback from other people. It's a small right now but pretty good community. So those are a few things that I'd say I really like yours, put on the calendar that puts not pressure on you, but kind of locks you in and gets you in the right mindset. I would say don't start calling yourself a comedian until you've been in it about a year either, because it's easy to get on stage once and be like, oh, I'm a comedian. Well, maybe a year is too long, but after you've performed a number of times, I don't know at one point each person can call themselves a comedian, but I find that if people start doing that too early, they might feel like, oh, I've accomplished it. I did it. I was a comedian. I'm done. Right.
So you almost stop growing then?
Yeah. You're like, I
You
achieved
achieve
it.
the goal. Oh, and you quit. Okay.
So calling yourself that with awareness is really important. So that's one of the other things I do. Learn how to write a joke, as Brandon was saying, and you can do that with those resources I suggested. Learn how to write a joke. It's not a bad idea to take an online class like the Udemy class I made that's just at your own pace, or like with others. Jerry Corley's got a class, Greg Dean's got a class. There are a bunch of people online who teach classes, and you can sign up for some of those as well. That'll give you an idea. It'll make you realize how much you don't know.
Mm-hmm. The Greg Dean class is really good about being able to really dissect a joke and strip it down so there's not much fat in it.
Right.
Is,
yeah, Gayla
super
Johnson
helpful.
is one of the main teachers with Greg Dean, and she's really hardcore about that, militant about that. And I love that. That goes well with my own profession of teaching writing, So I'm kind of, I've adopted that militancy in my writing courses with my own joke writing as well. And limit your jokes, the length of your jokes, 18 to 22 words. If it's much shorter or much longer, trim it down. That's really hard for people to do. So, yeah, I'd be able to identify a good setup and a good punch in the 18 to 22 word span.
The other thing is you can write for a year. It really doesn't matter. Like, you can learn to write a joke, but to learn what is funny and what is not funny, you have to go up and try it out and perform it.
Yep.
There's really no substitution for that.
That's right. I wrote for 4 months before I ever went on stage. So I think that's exactly right. Things just change when you get up there and you get a mic in your hand and you're looking at people. Like, it's just, things change straight up.
I usually end up in handcuffs, but it's all right.
Yeah, well, you keep making jokes about your wife like that.
Yeah.
I'll
call the cops all day.
Yeah. So I think that's a great question. Yeah. So that's my advice.
Cool. So I think we're good.
All right, man. So this is episode 3, man. We knocked it out. And hey, thanks for watching or listening. Brandon, thanks for all your input, your time, your insight. And we appreciate everybody who watches, listen, and we'd ask that you subscribe and share this with other people too. We'd be grateful for that. But we're going to wrap it up there. We're going to stop there and say we hope that helped.
It's the Pro Life Podcast.
It's pro-life, pro-life. A movement and a podcast. It's pro-life, pro-life.